Joel Topf from Nephrology Times. I got Dr. James Tumlin here. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Joel.
Yesterday, you had a late-breaking and high-impact clinical trial on DUPLEX.
Indeed.
Now, we saw DUPLEX a couple of years ago.
Correct.
And unfortunately, it was the conventional read. It's a negative trial. This is Sparsentan in FSGS.
Correct. Right.
And a 2-year-long trial. And we saw dramatic reductions in proteinuria.
Absolutely.
And yesterday you presented data on complete remission and partial remission and how that changed the data. Why don't you share what you found?
Right. So I think the way to address that is that what is evolving in FSGS is similar to what was seen in the IgA nephropathy world, where we started looking at what has been our primary endpoint. So you're quite correct that the endpoint for GFR was not met in the DUPLEX trial.
Sure.
And part of that reason was because there's an initial drop in GFR that comes with the usage of an endothelin receptor antagonist.
Okay.
And the consequence of that, it just really makes it difficult to analyze.
Put you behind the barrel.
Right.
Deal with. Okay.
So commensurate with that was the Parasol study. And the Parasol study was looking at 1,620 primary FSGS patients with over 1 gram of protein.
And importantly, in DUPLEX, you had primary and secondary FSGS.
Exactly.
So, but Parasol is only primary.
Yes. And
okay.
What the Parasol objective was to find out if you reach certain goals of proteinuria reduction, 300, 500, 500 to 1,500 or over 1,500,
okay,
what was the long-term outcome of those patients in terms of GFR?
Let me guess. The lower the proteinuria, the better the outcome.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's shocking stuff.
And so they reanalyzed and presented the data yesterday in the DUPLEX trial, looking at that endpoint. When if you had less than 300 milligrams of protein per 24 hours, you had only a 2.1% chance of progression at the end of 2 years.
Yeah.
And so what they're saying is, and what a lot of people are now beginning to believe, that proteinuria is probably a better marker for progressive decline than GFR due to the inherent variability of GFR. So this is something that's an evolution, and the data looks really tight when you analyze it in that fashion.
Okay. So one of the findings was that patients on Sparsentan had earlier and more frequent complete remissions.
Correct.
And we're saying that complete remissions have better long-term outcomes.
Absolutely.
So I'm having trouble connecting the dots. Why are we not seeing an improvement in GFR? I mean, it's a 2-year study. It's a good long runway, right?
Yeah. So it's one of the foibles of clinical medicine. And so you're quite right. If those patients that had a less than 300 milligram per 24-hour UPCR, at the end of the 108-week period of the trial, there was a 2-fold higher protected loss of GFR compared to the Irbesartan group, which had only 2.1 versus 15% progression in the Irbesartan group. And so you're right, when you look at the slope of the GFR.
I just want to make sure I got that. It's a 2.1% progression with
if you achieved a urine protein of less than 300.
Regardless of how you got there, or just with Sparsentan?
With Sparsentan.
With Sparsentan, it was 2.1%.
Now, let's go back and clarify that, because in the Parasol study, that was treatment naive, and they showed exactly the same thing. And this way, when you looked at the effector being Sparsentan, you only had a 2.1% chance of progression.
Which is great. My patients would love that. Okay. So magic wand, you get a do-over with DUPLEX. You get to design the study. What does DUPLEX look like under DUPLEX 2.0, if you will?
Okay, it's a great question. So a lot of us, when these drugs first came out,
not good, great.
Well, these questions. Well, when a lot of this data came out, with the advent of the ERA antagonist in conjunction with AT1 receptor antagonist, what Sparsentan does. A lot of us felt like this wasn't specifically, Joel, just an IgA drug.
Sure.
It's not just an FSGS.
Another acid.
Everybody was of the conviction that this is actually a CKD drug.
Yep.
So I think most of us were just kind of waiting for it to progress into other CKDs, including diabetes. There were previous perturbation trials, the SONAR trial looking at a different agent that had problems with heart failure, which we saw none of that in the DUPLEX trial. There was no cases of heart failure.
The safety data was
over the top.
Surprisingly good.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Totally agree. And there was very little hyperkalemia, and so even down to GFRs of 30, that was not really a problem. There was no heart failure. So I think that what my personal opinion is that these drugs will migrate into being a part of the 3-legged stool of ACE-ARB, MRAs, and now ERAs with SGLT2s and probably GLPs as well.
Excellent. Okay, I want to switch gears a little bit. I want you. What is NephroNet, and why should I care?
Okay, great. So NephroNet is a 501c3 nonprofit that we based in Atlanta, which we started about 16 years ago. And we have lots of issues. We enjoy working with industry. One of our core mission statements is to do medical education. So we have an annual nephrology update meeting where we bring in thought leaders from all over the world, and we're kind of famous for doing debates on complicated issues, which adds a lot of theater to it. It's a lot of fun. It's a very powerful teaching tool. And now what NephroNet is doing, and would be really love to talk to a lot of people, we want to start a third-year nephrology glomerulonephritis fellowship, because we're not based with a university, which means that an applicant to our fellowship, wherever they want to go, as long as they're qualified to teach that individual, we will pay their salary.
And that's very cool. Do you think this is going to be is it mainly a clinical year, or is it going to be a research year?
Until we get our full funding, is a great question. We're going to do only a clinical year, but our vision is to have a third year and a fourth year. And let's say you do the fourth year and you want to go into industry. We'll teach you big data. We'll hook you up with companies to teach you medical affairs, those kind of skill sets you never get in nephrology training. You could go into a formal basic science. We will provide seed money for the research that they build up a database of investigation for a K08 or a K21 award. And then, or you could be like me, a frontline community physician that actually does a lot of clinical research.
I respect that. Hey, if somebody's interested in NephroNet, if they want to go to this meeting, what should they do?
So go to our website, and you can go to www.nephronet.org, right? And we have all kinds of contact information, and my cell phone's on there. You can call me up.
James, this was outstanding.
Hey,
thank you very much.
Great.
Have a good meeting. Congratulations on that DUPLEX study.